Greetings wherever you're watching us from, and welcome to another edition of Between the Lines. I am your host, Karanja Jackson. Today we discuss the impact of COVID-19 on the hotel and tourism sector in our country. As we all know that the pandemic has severely hit the different sectors, both social and economic, of this world. And today we sit down together with the Bar Owners Association Secretary General, Mr. Boniface Gashoka. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Mr. Gashoka will be helping us discuss what the new directive by the government, the presidential directive issued on Monday, that no alcohol will be sold in eateries and restaurants, and the immediate closure of bars and entertainment spots in our republic. Keep sending in your comments using the hashtag Between the Lines. Mr. Gashoka, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
How have you been? Let us start there.
I think in the whole industry, that is from the whole value chain, this has been the toughest year so far. We understand that it's also affecting everybody.
Yes.
But on our side, it has been very tough.
It has been severe, especially considering that one of the directive in trying to address the COVID-19 pandemic is the issue of social gathering, and your sector thrives on social gathering.
And actually, we're called a social business.
A social business, actually. So let's begin with, you are the Bar Owners Association Secretary General.
And actually, I would start by introducing myself. My name is Boniface Gashoka.
Okay.
I am the CEO, Chief Executive Officer of Nakuru County Bar Owners Association, which prides in a membership of 3,000 members with 2,100 bars and 900 hotels. The structure of the association is formed in a way that we are in 41 counties, and then all the 41 leaders or chairmen or CEOs meet in Nairobi and then form the national body, which is the National Bar Owners Association. Actually, its name is Balita. That is the structure. And through the election, it was competitive. That is why I got the seat of the Secretary General.
So to belong to this association, one, you have to be a bar owner.
You have to be a bar owner or a hotelier.
Oh, hotelier. Okay.
Yes.
So you've mentioned 41 counties. Our republic has 47 counties. Why the disparity?
The other counties, they're in Kenya, but they do sell alcohol, but they are Muslim counties. So due to security issues, so that is the reason the bars had to be closed, because Al-Shabaab would go into the bars and the social places and throw bombs. So the bars are only strictly in the police camps, the army camp, and NYS. So they don't have bars. They only have a few.
And you are elected as the Bar Owners Association Secretary General in the Republic.
In the Republic of Kenya.
Okay.
Yes.
So what are some of the objectives of this association?
First of all, the main objective is to help our member comply with the law. We are an association that is full of empowerment. We are an association that is full of creating an enabling environment for our people to thrive. Because even right now, the challenges that you're seeing, these are challenges we've been going through each and every day when you run our businesses. But now, at least we would go through them and help, through the power of the association, would help our members to go through them. And actually, even the passion restriction that you're seeing, we've been living with this, but now it is extreme. So one of the main objectives it is to help our members comply with the law.
And by complying, you mean maybe things like having licenses or something?
Yeah. So any law or anything that would come as a hindrance to enable our members comply is what we would challenge it. For example, there are laws that would come that are punitive. We'll take them to court. There are issues that would come that would be very expensive for our members to maybe buy or maintain. For example, during the COVID period, we imported 54,000 infrared. Nationally, we have 54,000 members. So one infrared thermometers would go for 15 to 18,000. So we imported them and sold to our members at cost. So that being a hindrance, so we try and make life easy for our members. Besides, we even try and interpret statutes. That is the law. Like, for example, what we have right now. We've done Zoom meetings, we've even done physical meetings, and we're even trying to, we're planning to train our members more to understand the law and understand so many of these regulations that are going on.
I and for wherever I live, I normally notice several times some of these joints or bars will be raided by police and they will be arrested on grounds of maybe exceeding the time that they should be selling. That was even post pre-COVID. And several times the revelers in there would be arrested and maybe charged on different issues. What has your association been doing in trying to help revelers stay clear of arrests by the police?
First of all, we've invested in empowering our members through education. And were it not for COVID, we were planning to go around all the counties with a few lawyers who would come up for us to teach our members on their rights, because some of the arrests are unfair. That is one. Number two, the association has kept a relationship with majorly the county police administration. In this case, the regional commander is a person whom we meet, the county commander, and where have you. Because one of the aims of the association is to push for self-regulation. And self-regulation only comes when our members are empowered with information. We don't disagree that there are members who breach the law. But if they were charged unfairly, that is where we get in with lawyers and help them and even advise them. And I'll even give you a case in point. Today in the morning, there is somebody who runs a wines and spirit from Njoro. And he was arrested and even charged here in Nakuru. And we advised him and he was released on actually a minute or even zero bond from our advice and following up to the case, because the arrest and the charge was unfair. So beside empowering our people with information, we also we use moral persuasion. We urge our members every day to comply with the law. We urge our members, we even train them on how they're going to comply with the law. Beside, by teaching them on their rights, because sometimes the alcohol in Kenya is highly regulated. So these laws are so many that if you give it to an investor who's supposed to concentrate on managing his business, it would be overwhelming. So we try and teach them different stages, the Alcoholics Drink Act, the Mutudo Act, for them to comprehend and for them to stand on their right.
Speaking of relationship, and you have mentioned it in your discussion, it is, I'll just say this bluntly, it is common knowledge that we do have rogue police around our republic who go extorting money from bar owners on flimsy cases or excuses. What has your association been doing to try rid of this?
First of all, we will not talk about rogue police officers. I would talk about just a few, 2, 3 who are greedy. That's what I would call, because we've even participated in some security meetings with very senior officers in this place. And there is that goodwill of allowing our industry to operate. We even created a relationship with the county government of Nakuru. For example, we sit in the appeals committee. 2 of our members, we've seconded them to sit in the appeals committee in the spirit of self-regulation and good partnership. But for the few officers who are here and there, I think some of them we would report them, and some of them will tell our members to know how to live with them.
Okay. For those who are joining us, it's another edition of Between the Lines, and today in studio we have the Bar Owners Association Secretary General, Mr. Boniface Gashoka. He'll be helping us discuss and understand what the new directive by the President on the sale of alcohol in eateries and restaurants means to the association and to the revelers out there. Keep sending in your comments using the hashtag Between the Lines on our different platforms on Facebook, Twitter, and we will sample them as the discussion continues. Now, back to you, Mr. Gashoka. So the government, let's go back to March. It closed bars and other restaurants that sell alcohol. What has it been to you as a businessman and as the association Secretary General?
When you look at the objective, the main objective is helping our members comply with the law. An announcement was made and we urged our members, even right now, even calling on them to comply with each and every law or in each and every regulation or guideline that is going to be given. But when this announcement was made, all of us complied and we accepted to live within the law. We didn't know that this disease would stay for that long. And it was a very unfair experience because, first of all, when we were, there's one thing, the people were requested to close as we were ordered and threatened. And that is a question we've been asking the different government departments. I don't know why we should not be consulted or should not be requested or we should not be told. Now, when an order was given for us to close, the following were the effects. Number one, we had stocks that had not been finished. So millions of worth of stock nationally is getting lost through expiry. Number two, we had employees whom we had not paid. If you remember the exact date, because it was not the end of the month.
Yes.
The premise has been closed. The landlord is here, and all the other people. So we had employees whom we had not paid. We even had dues in KRA. We had dues in NSSF and NHIF that we were left pending. We had not paid. Those are dues where some of our members have been summoned by KRA, some of them have been summoned by NSSF, some of them the NHIF has been on our neck. The other things is we had large arrears. I'll give you an example. If you look at the environment that the bars operate, even the normal small bars, if a shop will be charged 12,000, I don't know why people think that the alcohol industry has a lot of money. A bar that is next door in the same property will be charged 3 times up.
Or is it because you normally have a lot of customers walking in?
I think it's walking in, but I don't think it is. I don't think we do have those millions of money as people are saying, because we have a lot of expenses to incur in the running of our businesses. Let's continue. Some of us, we had loans, huge loans that we were supposed to pay, and there were so many things that were pending when we were told to stop operating, and we complied. But months down the line, we talked with the government. We had a meeting with the Ministry of Trade in Nairobi. We had a meeting with the Ministry of Health and agreed for the restaurants to be opened. We really thank the President and Mutahi Kagwe, because every time when we went to them to cry to them, they accepted. So initially they decided to open the restaurants after so many meetings and so much engagement, and we were happy about it. Of course, the takeaways in this case, which is the wines and spirits, they were not closed. The supermarkets also were not closed to disperse, to sell to our members. From there, we talked about takeaways, because it would be very unfair if we would open the wines and spirit and not accept the bars to sell on takeaways. Because even the percentage in Kenya, I represent 54,000 bars, or people would call liquor traders. Out of 54,000, 8,000 are wines and spirits. So we would lose the largest percentage of our members if we would not accept them to sell on takeaway. So we feel that is quite unfair, because if we allow these premises to be closed, majority of us are going to lose our businesses. And one thing that we really want to communicate to the government, we are not interested in any revenue. In fact, nowadays, the people who opened their restaurants, there is no income that they're doing. I'll give you an example. I have a friend who has a restaurant in town, just around here, and his rental income per month is 700,000. This person has a fixed cost of salary of 60 employees. When you look at the percentage contribution of revenue, alcohol constitutes to around 80%. So when you're told to close and sell food only, I mean, you can see this person cannot even maintain a fraction of those employees. And one of the things that we've requested as an association is for our members to continue supporting our employees. So when you look the whole environment, you have rent here. We even have cases in tribunals, and we'd really like to appreciate Waziri of Trade, Betty, because of accepting that the tribunal to be operational. It has not been operational for a long time. So we have so many cases here because you really don't want to lose your business. And that is why when you are coming to the government, we are not talking about any revenue that you are making. In fact, this year, I don't think there are businesses that are going to make profits. Most of the businesses are going to incur losses. And we've accepted. The only thing that we are requesting and calling from the government is to allow us to partially operate through takeaway. Partially operate for us to save our businesses. And for us also to maintain the great and good talents that we've always had. And that is why the alcohol industry is perceived to be profitable because of the employees and the talents that we have kept.
He says it as he says it. That is Mr. Boniface Gashoka, the Bar Owners Association Secretary General in this republic. Allow me just to sample a few responses on our different platforms. We have MC Kiptabut from Eldoret. He's watching, loving the show.
Thank you.
Amos Munyao says, countries that were worse hit by the virus are trying to save the tourism sector by partially opening. Why are we failing to learn there is life after COVID? I think Mr. Munyao here is agreeing to what you're saying, that maybe it's high time that we start allowing sections. When we come back, we will discuss other countries, notable America, Spain and others that have actually closed their bars in trying to deal with COVID, and then maybe try and discuss this. It's another edition of Between the Lines. Today we have the Bar Owners Association Secretary General, Mr. Boniface Gashoka, who is helping us discuss the impact of COVID-19 on in their sector. Don't touch the dial. We'll be right back. It's another edition of Between the Lines, and today we discuss the impact of COVID-19, especially on the hotel and tourism sector. In studio today we have the Bar Owners Association Secretary General, Mr. Boniface Gashoka, and he's helping us discuss what the pandemic has been in the sector of selling alcohol in our republic. Mr. Gashoka, being the association head, the Secretary General, one will ask, what are the basic minimums in setting up a bar?
I think that is one of the funniest questions that I would like to answer, because so many people have an ambition to get into this business. But I'll give you some of the conditions. I want to open a bar that will accommodate 20 people. These are the following are the requirements that you need. Number one, you need a business permit. You need a liquor license. From my explanation, I understand a liquor license as a restrictive tax that we're charging you, and is actually in most cases liquor licenses are always 5 times your business permit. The minimum business permit you can get in this country is 10,000 shillings. So 5 times is 50,000. So the smallest keg joint pays 60,000 upfront before you start thinking about it. You need to pay for fire. You need to pay for pay. That is in KRA. Yeah. So now the county licenses are liquor licenses, business permit, fire, public health. You also need to pay health licenses for your employees. So the minimum that you need to pay is 80,000. That is the smallest keg bar.
And do all of them do this?
Of course they do.
Do they?
We are the largest contributors of taxation in this country. In fact, madeni yote ya China ni si ulipa. Na si yo peke yake. If you see any civil servant talking against a bar, tell them we are the ones who pay his salary. We contribute 900 billion every year to this country, directly and indirectly, the whole industry. So let's continue with the bar. That is the smallest setup of
over
a
20
bar,
persons.
over 20 persons bar. You've already set aside 80,000. You also need to pay for VAT. You need to pay for TOT. Now we're talking to KRA. You need to pay for pay. Let's go ahead. On the sides of tourism, every month when you do your sales, you're supposed to contribute 2% to tourism levy or tourism fund. Or catering levy is also a name that was changed the other day. You need a license with Tourism Regulatory Authority before you start operating. Of course, add the other things. You need to pay for music copyright because it's something that we want to support our children. And there are so many other things. Of course, you cannot operate without bills, water bills and electric bills. You cannot operate without insurance. And of course, and also you need the police. I'm sorry to say so. It's a cost. Yes.
And actually, something is coming out clearly based on the figures that bar owners contribute in the economy of this republic. One would ask, now, what is the association doing during this pandemic? One, in helping the local mwananchi navigate through the pandemic, and number two, now that there is a new directive that no alcohol will be sold, what next?
We have come up with a fund of enabling at least 35,000 bars, educating them, which is around 300 million that we have set as an industry. And that is why these directives that came, we call them unfair. Because one of the main things that we are calling up to the government is to set a committee to engage us. Because it was very unfair when we looked at the church. Through a presidential directive, there's a committee that was set. But for the alcohol industry, today we talk with the Ministry of Trade, we agree. The next day, another ministry gives directive. The next day, another ministry is not even aware. We sat down with our members and set our own regulation, which we call them SOPs, Standard Operating Procedures, and agreed that through the spirit of self-regulation, we're going to regulate ourselves and we're going to tell our members to follow these decisions because it is like a constitution that we gave to ourselves and we shared them with the ministry. In fact, most of even the conditions that were being issued earlier, it is the association that contributed. But it was unfortunate what exactly transpired. It was very unfortunate. So we have set a fund of 300 million. In fact, were it not for this directive, the trainings were supposed to start from Nairobi. That is the National Association in partnership with our partners. We have so many partners. We have Qual, we have EABL, we have AMREF, we have even the media. We have so many partners. So we were planning to ensure that this information or this warning or this disease is put to life to our people. Because one of the things that we decided as an industry, is this year we're not going to concentrate on profits. Neither are we going to talk even about the money that we're going to lose. This year we're going to focus on empowering our people to understand that there is a disease and we can be a hotspot. And that is why even the partnership was able to succeed. And that's why we say the government, I think on our side, we feel that we need a committee that will be working between the government and the bar owners, so that when there is a lot of breach from our members, we can communicate to them. When there is a lot of, because the decision that was made according to us, because part 2, as we were headed towards the total closures of bars not to sell alcohol, we had seen a lot of roadside declaration. Governor of Kiambu, some OCPD from Kisii. And one of the main reasons we have a new constitution, and the constitution, we called it new and gave to ourselves, was to eliminate dictatorial tendency, was to eliminate decisions that do not involve the members. So a decision was made, we got it via the social media, we responded to something that a legal notice that didn't even have a number. It was even denied by the Ministry of Health, but we understood, of course, that there is something that was coming. But if we had a committee that was there between us and the government, a lot of ideas that is with genuine bar owners. One of the reasons why we talk of 54,000 bar owners, there's so many bars even in Nakuru that operate illegally. Those guys cannot accept to be our members because we have put conditions on how you can join our association. And one of them, you must pay your licenses. You must pay your licenses and you must operate legally, because we cannot defend a person who does not operate legally. And that is the reason maybe why we can even present our grievances up to the national level. So we really urge the presidency, we urge the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Trade, let us have this committee, because we believe diplomacy will work better. Because we're in a place where we don't even know how soon this disease is going to end. And we've already shut our industry. And maybe a point of concern is this. Whenever the government is interested in revenue, they fall in love with us. And that is why we've said we are also not going, as the president directed, there is no business, no industry, and no manufacturer will concentrate on the revenue. But I'll touch a few figures on how we've been affected. Number one, by the fall of the hammer of that directive, we're expecting in the next 30 days, this industry will lose 50 billion. That is one. Number two, when the first order of closure of bars was declared, this industry employs 500,000 people. We immediately lost 300,000. And we continued losing because even the comeback, because social distancing has come, the disease is being seen, and even conferences are not there. The airspace was closed. We also benefit a lot from aeroplanes and the airspace. The airspace was closed. So there are no tourists. Tourism actually even went to a halt. We have even hotels, especially the single tourist target hotels. Now, which tourists do they have? So they closed to zero, and they started counting negative because you have to incur the fixed costs. You have employees, you have electricity and security and what have you. So far, 300,000 went home immediately. When we did our statistics, when the restaurants were opened, we were able to recover at least 50,000. We went ahead. This is nationally. We went ahead when takeaways were allowed. We increased around 80,000. On an estimate, we did like 150,000. On the fall of the hammer of the president, we have only the wines and spirit, because majority of the hotels, because 70% of a restaurant that sells alcohol gets its revenue from alcohol. So if a capacity of 70% has been closed, what does that mean? You have to close, because you will be incurring more cost in running than in closing.
Revenue aside, do you think, and we have seen this evidently even on people taking pictures and even videos of people in bars oblivious completely of the measures of social distancing. And we know whenever people get intoxicated, the idea that was there when they got there is not the one that will be reigning them. Do you think this played a part in the government deciding to to completely close bars around the country?
When you have your child at home who's underage, you have a lot of restriction. I think laws in this country talked about alcohol to be sold to grown-ups. I don't know when they take alcohol how they turn to be children.
I think it okay.
Because these people, these are grown-ups in the first place. Number one, the first regulations that were issued, there was social distancing. In fact, we even had to employ an extra security person whom we're calling a bouncer. That is one. Number two, we even had to write in our bars that we owe the right of admission. What does that mean? Anybody who breached that law will be thrown out.
But was that really happening? Because we saw, and we've seen this in bars and in joints around the country, people mingling, even without the masks. Do you think the association just placed down the rules, but the effectiveness of them was never felt?
I would like to talk about an expose that was done by a certain media house that really contributed to it. Na mimi nimezoea kusema hakuna soko haina mwenda wazimu. That percentage was very small. And actually, if you look at the investigation that was done, this person went to Kitengela and aired a fleet of vehicles outside the restaurant and then talked of how these people have breached. So we asked ourselves, so nowadays we are not even supposed to park cars outside the restaurant. That is one. Number two, is a request we are calling on the government and the media. That percentage of breaching of the law is very small. Come, we show you, even right now as we are talking, we show you bars that are compliant. We show you restaurants that even closes their door and says the place is full, no entrance. We show you pictures. We even told our members, and this is a challenge I'm giving to our members, send me videos and pictures of people being removed by bouncers. In a normal society and in a democratic society, you can't lack one or two who are misbehaving. And that's why I've been calling on the police. And that is the question we've been asking. People complaining that there are bars which are breaching the law. Are there human beings in that place? Is the authority there? Is the police there? Because we as an association, and not only the leadership, even the members have agreed that we will protect the small freedom that we've been given religiously. We've even seen bars approaching other bars, bar owners approaching other bars and talking to them and telling them, dude, you have to comply with the law. So that percentage because even the case that we saw in Nairobi, even that bar didn't even have a liquor license or even a business permit. So that percentage is very small.
Speaking of licenses, and it now brings us to the next question. We do have bars and other restaurants that sell alcohol and do not have licenses to operate. What is the association doing in trying to deal with these rogue and illegal bars around the country?
It is not once or twice that we've met His Excellency Governor Lee Kinyanjui or the line ministers complaining about these things. And not only that, we even complained about counterfeit. In fact, we had a very good campaign of fighting illicit brew and counterfeits. White not for COVID. Because if you allow an illegal establishment to operate, that establishment will ensure that the legal establishment, and you've seen the investment that is needed, closes down. So it is not once, even here in Nakuru, that we've complained to His Excellency. And we're very happy because we've worked very well with the county government of Nakuru. And even the national government. We've worked with them very well in ensuring that an establishment that do not have a license, that is not legal, that does not operate legally, has been shut down.
Some comments that are coming on our platforms. Pato Prince says that it is unfair, that it was unfair to the bar owners that a directive was made just to affect their business, as if they are responsible for COVID-19 spread both in Nakuru and in the Republic. Another comment is that Could you elaborate more on what are the alternative solutions would be, what alternative solutions would be in light of the current regulations announced by the president?
Good. We have so many ideas on how we can operate and reduce this disease, and even how we can regulate. And actually, even the issue of social distancing and some of these ideas on regulations, we are the one who came up with them. But majorly, what we are requesting the government, first of all, let's do a committee. Even with the county government, let's do a committee that would involve the industrial players. Number two, let us allow the other bars, apart from the wines and spirits, to sell alcohol on takeaway. Because on takeaway, there is no social distancing. It's just the same way you go. Even takeaway is even better for bars because you don't even get inside. We've even accepted if our members are allowed to sell alcohol over the window and they are not allowed to open the door, we are ready. Because we really don't want to lose this industry. Because the cost of coming back, even if COVID ends today at 0, it will be very high. And we will create a country that will have so many dependents. So many dependents because they've already lost their businesses. So the cost of coming back. And what
do you think, allow me to cut you short, and I like your optimism about it, but do you think the government, while making this discussion or making this directive, looked at it at a different angle? Like, let us not only look at revenue, because there has been discussion time and again that let economy not come in the way of health. Let us put health first ahead of the economic value. And we have seen this in other countries, Spain notably, France, US, that have closed bars in an attempt on controlling the curve of COVID-19.
One of the things that I would like to talk about when you talk about countries, I would like to talk about Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia banned alcohol way even before COVID existed. Right now, as we're talking, they have 275,000 cases. And that is why we've called on our members to comply as we're trying to engage the government. And then we look at the curve. If the curve goes up, it means it is not us. If the curve goes down, then we can sit down and look for other alternatives. But the following people, as we're sitting down and talking and discussing on how the bars should be open, on how the bars should be allowed to do takeaways and such kind of a thing, the following people are the people who are being affected. You know, when we look at alcohol, we only look at that bottle. But these are the people whom the industry supports. Number one, it is the farmers. When you talk about the farmers, we talk about the barley farmers. We talk about the cassava farmers. Cassava is also used to make alcohol. We talk about those huge tracts and tracts of land of wheat farmers. Leave even those farmers. We even have other farmers. We have the meat farmer. I think we go to bar to take nyama choma and the rest. The onion farmers. All those farmers, by now, they have shut down. Where are they taking their food? I don't know. From there, we've taken barley. How are you going to take it to the factory? We have another industry called the transporters and the fuel industry. That barley has to be transported from Kapenguria to Kisumu to do keg. It has to be transported from Tanzania to this country. It has to be transported all through. So that is another industry that is well affected because most of the transporters who transport barley and our food are contractors. All the contracts have been stopped. Nowadays, you can't go and just buy a 6 million worth of a lorry. You have to take a loan. You can't just come with the cost that I've given you on the licenses. Some of the bars that you look in this country, they are very pretty. So you need 5 or 2 or 3 million to invest in a bar. Are people paying? Where are they going to get the money? So the other place that is properly affected in our sector is the finance sector. Because our people cannot be able to pay. There are banks which we've talked with. They've agreed for us to restructure the loan. They have agreed for us to postpone the loan. But my question is this. This person is operating as at negative because you can't say at 0 because he still has some fixed cost. So that is another industry that is well affected, because even right now, even we are not even going to take loans. And actually, I would like to bring the following to the attention of the country. When we talk about restructuring and postponing a loan, we don't do it for free. If you talk to your bank, there is a cost that is attached to it. So count those are guys who are out in business. From there, this ballet is taken to the factory. In the factory, we have professionals. We have the chemical engineering. In fact, I'll tell you, some of the factories that you talk about in this country, they are 100% closed. The alcohol that you're seeing being sold here is alcohol that was set aside by the distributors, and maybe it was in the store. All the manufacturing companies of alcohol in this country are 100% closed. What they're doing is selling stock. Let me ask you, if they are 100% closed, where do you think are those professionals? 100% they are on unpaid leave. Here, we are talking about a workforce of around 100,000 plus. From there, we have the bar owners. Let's go to the bar owners. We have the proprietor who's suffering all these things. We have the managers. We have the waiters. We have the cleaners. We have the watchmen. Those are employed directly. We have accountants. We have auditors. And we have so many other things. The bouncers, the ladies who come to entertain us, the musician, and all those ones. They're employed indirectly. Plus, of course, the investment that the owner of a bar does. So those are other people who are at home 100%.
So 100,000, I'm getting your figures, 100,000 workforce.
From the manufacturing.
Yes. And then a total of, and then you break it down to maybe the cook, all those numbers. Do you think it's ironical that you have these big numbers, yet the country or the government does not call you for a sit-in when making decisions?
If we make the committee, we will reach there. I'm not even through. There are these people called Music Copyright Camp Prisk. And even the musicians themselves who come to perform in our places. Where are they? They're at home. We even have a case of a very famous musician who wrote in Facebook he's contemplating to kill himself because the cost is very high. And we as the association, we came in and helped the young man. So that is the other thing. On the other side, don't even count that music copyright. Where is it getting its revenue from? 100% closed. We have another sector called the insurance sector. They insure from the transporters, they insure the factories, they insure the loans, they insure the bar owners, they insure everywhere. They even insure the vehicles. We have another place called the transport sector, which is the taxis. We've done a campaign, and we're people who support values and morals. And we know alcohol impairs judgment. And I think that is a campaign that we've done in the whole country. And we do not accept drinking and driving. So what do we talk about? We have people we call designated drivers. There are even bars in this place who drivers there who can drive you to your own home. Those people are out. We have the taxis. There were Sealies and Ubers and what have you. All these people, they hang around our bars. In fact, even today, as I was coming, I had to use one. These people, they're used to parking outside these famous joints. But they have no option. They have to park in the estates. These people have loans and they have obligations. And that is why we are calling for a committee for us to explain to these people or to the government on the impact of closure of this industry.
We'll take a small breather. When we come back, Mr. Gashoka will tell us why religious organizations were given an ear and yet his association was not. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Over the past few months, our country has stood together to keep the COVID numbers down. The numbers are important because they decide how the story unfolds. At Safaricom, our numbers also tell a story of hope, resilience, and recovery. new numbers tell us the same story, that we never let what we can't do come in the way of what we can. Let's keep going.
Welcome back. The show is Between the Lines. In studio today we have Boniface Gashoka, this Secretary General of the Bar Owners Association, and he has been discussing on why he feels that the bar owners in this republic should be given an ear by the government and also allowed to operate, even if it's for a few hours or even through the window, as you have mentioned. I keep sending in your comments, and I will sample, let me just sample a few from our page. Rahim, Josephat Rahim says that wangefunga to KBL once and for all if they want to deal with COVID, as they are saying. A salute to Prince Charles Mwangi, who is watching, and other. We'll keep sending them. We'll keep sampling them as we continue. Okay. Back to you, Mr. Gashoka. We were speaking something about the selling of takeaways in supermarkets and other joints. Has this been affected?
When the president issued a directive, and it's good to also make it clear, the president did not talk of no sale of alcohol in this republic. The president talked of no sale of alcohol in the restaurants. What does that mean? And actually it was even clarified the next day very well by Waziri Mutahi Kagwe, when he said that the wines and spirits and the supermarkets are supposed to be sold, alcohol is supposed to be sold. It's very unfortunate that even as the CEO of this county, we are seeing some rogue police officers arresting our wines and spirit for nothing. Because that is, or even some of them are even going ahead and telling our wines and spirits to close down. I think it's good for that directive to be understood. Or even seeing some police officers talking of arresting a person because he's drunk. Let me make it clear. The president did not ban the sale or intake of alcohol in this country. He only banned a section. We have shops, we call them takeaways, which are wines and spirit that are supposed to operate. And on that note, I will not mind taking any legal action against an officer who's going to interfere with those businesses, including even the big ones here, or even officers who are going there to ask for bribe and what have you. We will surely not agree to a country that operates out of assumptions or out of just force. Yesterday we had a case in Salga. They just come, arrest you and take alcohol worth 10, 15,000, go keep it and drink it. To me, I will interpret that as thuggery, and the association will not mind protecting those members. So, and on the other side, that proposal on takeaway, because the proposal that we gave to the government and they almost accepted it, the proposal on takeaway of bars will really work, and it was working very well. Because what is the difference of a person going to a wines and spirits, you take your stuff and go home, as well going to a bar, get in the same way you get into a shop, take your spirit of your alcohol and go. And there's also something else. On the issue to do with keg, we have a good number of small entrepreneurs. We've even come up with ideas on how keg can be sold on takeaways, and we've shared with our members. We're going to sell keg through tumblers. We're also discussing with EABL on how still sit-in will not be accepted in bars. So the people who are selling kegs have hope. That is a proposal that we are working on.
So, and I just want to capture your words. You said that you presented a proposal that was almost accepted. And there was also the previous time you've mentioned that there were suggestions that you had forwarded and were not approved. We do have the clergy that approached the government, and through a discussion, and a committee was set up that was headed by the Interior Cabinet Secretary, and they came up with ideas or a formula of having churches opened. Do you think it's discrimination? Is your association being looked down upon, or are you people viewed like you people are not? You don't have the weight to persuade or even convince us on why we should allow you to reopen.
I think in the experience of my career as an alcohol industry leader, this is the time where we've seen that how passionate alcohol is hated. But in reality, and these are the figures, and is a research that we can bring it to you. In Kenya, we have 47 million Kenyans, and 80% are Christians. Funnily, 70% take alcohol. What does that mean? 70% of 80% of those people who go to church, they take alcohol. But we have this culture of Kenyans not facing the truth or the reality.
But do you know there's a thin line actually? Allow me to ask you that. There's a thin line on Christianity and taking of alcohol, because there's no part in the Bible that says that you should not take alcohol. Yes.
And actually, I would like to, if you want us to talk about the Bible, I would like to bring to your attention that the first miracle that Jesus did, he changed water into wine.
You think you should have mentioned that when you were telling the government to allow you to open?
Yeah, but now the challenge that
because
is there,
when the government was opening, actually, and it has been mentioned severally, that we want people to start praying for the country, for the pandemic to go away, okay? And that can be done in churches and not in bars.
And let me bring to your attention, because I don't know, some of us, we even go to church and we have positions in church.
Okay.
So we believe in God.
Yes.
And when you talk about the church, not even the church, when you even talk about corporate social responsibility, Mwana, that the manufacturers and this industry that has done to this country, it is huge. It is very, very huge. We even have sponsorships and what have you. But we really don't want to compete with the church. Our passion recall or our passion prayer to the government is for us to sit down and talk. We don't want this thing of Mimi, because nimeokoka, I've been sent, me I'm a prophet of God, to close alcohol. That is unfortunate. That is very, very, because those are the kind of experiences we've been getting of late. That because me I'm a saved person, I will not accept this thing. Whereas you're doing that, your brother, your sister, he's in the bar having fun and enjoying himself.
Do you think that fun is what we are trying to fight? In that when these people are having fun, enjoying themselves, as we are saying, they now become oblivious of the measures like social distance. We've seen, and you have mentioned clips on social media of people dancing, having a very good time in these bars, completely oblivious of the social distancing guidelines that we are setting. And yet we know this pandemic is spread by contact.
Maybe what I would like to bring to your attention, there is a new word which has been there, but now it's being repeated up to the whole world. They're talking about GBV. Why is there a lot of GBV? Even in Gilgil, today we are talking of a husband who went and stabbed the wife. I think the first thing and the first way of managing stress is leaving that place. We have two groups of people. We have civil servants who are earning and they're free, but they have money. They're earning. Number two, we have these people who lost their jobs and they're majority. So when there is stress in the house, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to leave, to go to where? The bar is closed. The restaurant is closed. So we should even look at part of the increment of GBV is the closure of the alcohol industry. Because if we gave these people option, the other day, this guy called Mutudo has talked about the way people are going to have withdrawal symptoms and what have you. The way people are going even to lose themselves because they've really liked this thing. The way, and this is an advice I'm giving to men, they're going to lose company. Sometimes we don't even look at that place. Sometimes we even go to that place to speak to people, to sign deals. Hapo ndio tunaenda kusainiana mashamba tukitaka kuuza. Hapo ndio tunaenda kusain a lot of contracts. Now, where are these people going to operate from? So in short, we are taking this country to the mess. So let's stop complaining about GBV that is being executed by people whom you've closed a place where they would go and relax and relieve themselves, or a place where they would go and call their pastor, they'd go and call their counselor or a friend to share and open their heart for them not to cause mayhem in their home.
And now that the pandemic is not leaving us anytime soon, now based on your words, that these restaurants were places of leisure, places of signing deals, places where they can go and maybe just have a good time after a long day at work, or maybe after a long a long week at work. Okay. Now, what next? Because now the pandemic is not leaving us tomorrow. It's not leaving us the day after tomorrow. Okay. Now, do we just now tell people now that this is not happening, or what are you telling your owners, your bar owners?
We've actually, one of the things that we are planning to do is to offer psychological counseling with our partners to all our members. In fact, this is a project that will start almost next week. For them to accept, because some of them, they're still in denial of the kind of losses. We've even seen today a bar owner who's selling his business that is worth an investment of around 2 million. Who is going to buy that business? And do you think that person may be selling a business because of he wants to do another business? No. It's because he cannot be able to sustain. So we're even planning to cancel some of our members. And actually, I don't think this country will operate without alcohol. We only want to see the impact of alcohol in the next 30 days. Is it true that it is us who are contributing to the increment? But from the figures that we're seeing every day, it may not be us, because right now we've urged our members in the whole country, through our chairman in all the counties and the officials, to comply with the law. So what does that mean? There is no sale of alcohol in a restaurant. That one I can promise you.
Okay, Mr. Geshoka, there was a proposal, maybe away from the opening and the closing. There was a proposal by the government to increase taxes on the Senate, on the keg. Okay, and you actually did a press briefing some time back where you asked the government not to do this. Would you share some light on this?
Senator keg is an alcohol that came when there was a lot of illicit brew all around and our people were complaining. It was done, and the price, it was priced to suit the low earning income earner. That is the Kenyan who earns very small amount of money, and it is served its purpose. Because it was actually done to compete with illicit brew that goes for 40 shillings. It is served its purpose, and our people are happy. I'm very happy when I also take second Senator Keg, by the way. It's a very sweet thing, eh? And you'll even find me in those places in Salga and the other places taking Senator Keg. So I'm also a fan of it. It's a very sweet thing. But someone came up with a proposal to increase or to tax it properly. 1 cup of keg goes for 50 shillings. It was supposed to shoot as high as 100 shillings. I don't think I had it. At a time when the economy is crumbling and we're even suspecting and analyzing and assessing that we may even have a world recession in business, somebody thinks of increasing a decent, well-prepared product to the tune of almost 100 shillings. So it was unfortunate, and we are very happy with the Minister of Finance. We approached him, we protested, we did press conferences. He heard us, and that tax was shelved. And one of the things that we would like to advise the members of the government, public participation was a spirit that was put in the Constitution, involving the members. I am a young man, but my career has grown very well because I like listening to even the keg owner. Even the smallest person in the industry is important to me. In fact, hakuna watu nipe stress nikose kulala kama hii hawa hustler zao wadogo wadogo. Because a major restaurant can go and speak. Then we just speak, nini, finance me, finance the other activities. But these small bar owners, because they make 80% of the association. And these are the me's and you's, the 20-something, the 30-something investors who want to put a foot in an industry. So when I hear a product like Senator Keg want to be attacked, we're talking of 50% of the bars in this country will be closed. On the policy makers in the Ministry of in Treasury, I would request, let us be creative. With COVID-19 where we are, so many businesses have changed from where we are and they've gone to some other places. Even nowadays, the live interviews and in media houses has changed to Zoom. But Zoom can be taxed because it's the way of life. So we're advising the policy makers, if we involve the members who are concerned in taxing in any policy that is to be done in this country, if we involve them, we will do it better.
Impressive. It has been another impressive edition of Between the Lines. In studio today we have Mr. Boniface Gashoka, the Secretary General of the Bar Owners Association in Kenya, and also the CEO of the Bar Owners Association here in Nakuru County. I've been your host, Karanja Jackson. Keep sending your comments. We will sample them, and thank you again for finding time to come to our show.
Thanks.
We wish you the very best moving forward.
Maybe I'll put a footnote.
First
of all, I'd like to appreciate His Excellency Governor Lee Kinyanjui for accepting to feed our people. And Mheshimiwa, you've been good to us because you even accepted to test. One of the conditions of opening was testing of our employees for free. We still have some challenges. We're going to work with Waziri of Health to do it. But Mheshimiwa Governor, tunakuomba tafadhali, kama vile ulivyoangalia walimu wa private schools, so tunakuomba tafadhali ukubali. Tunakuomba tafadhali Mheshimiwa Governor, tafadhali kubali kufeed our people. Miaka zote zenye umeserve kama governor tumekusupport, tumelipa revenue, na hatujakuwa na mkwaruzano. When there are problem and issues, we've been coming and discussing. So tunakuomba, as you're putting a share of the people whom you ought to feed, utukumbuke wenye vilabu na wafanyikazi wetu saa hizi hawana kazi na hawana income. So tunakuomba utukumbuke, hata sisi tuwekee a section kakitu kadogo ufeed watu wetu, na ukitukumbuka hata sisi tutakukumbuka. Next, I would like to appreciate all the bars in Nakuru County, the wines and spirit, wote wenye vilabu kwa hii county. Na niwaambie, hakuna vita mmenipatia nikashindwa. I want you to be hopeful, manage stress, mvumilie tu muda kidogo tunavyong'ang'ana na tunavyoanza mikakati ya kuongea na serikali ili tuweze kufungua. Siwezi sahau kutaja maybe a few of my friends. I'd like to bring to your attention that I have a pastor, Pastor Chege, ako pale Dakar. He is my pastor. Thank you so much for allowing me to do this job and encouraging me every day that when you help a poor person, when you help a person who has no means, you're helping God. And all my friends, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gashoka. I've been your host, Karanja Jackson. Until the next edition, stay safe.